Today we're going to look at stem and leaf plots. Stem and leaf plots are a way to represent data. It reminds me of a tree where you think of the data in the 80s right here, where you have the stem as the 8s and a whole bunch of leaves listed. It's important to understand that the leaf is only the ones place value. Everything else is the stem. So like the number 710, you pick just the ones place value to be a leaf, and the rest that's to the left of the ones place value becomes the stem. So you can look at the stem and leaf plot, and it's representing a list of data. Like here for the 9s we have 90, 94. For the stem and the 8s we have 83, 84, 85, 87, 89. In the 7s we have 70, 72, 72, and 79 again. And the key shows how that works, where you have an 8 to the left of the line and a 4 to the right. That represents 84. On your handout, write down any three of the data from the stem and leaf plot. One thing that's really nice about stem and leaf plots is that they're actually a graphical representation. Like looking at this, it kind of reminds me of a bar graph. And you can see then by the size where most of the data lies. Most of the data lies in the 80s on this stem and leaf plot. For here we have the list of the number of points Jack's team scored in each of their games. And we need to pick out which stem and leaf plot is shown with that data. So I'm going to use the process of elimination. I'm just going to start with plot A and see if the data shows up there. So this stem and leaf says that there should be an 18 and a 15. Well, I see an 18, but I do not see a 15. So that means it can't be that one. I see an 18, a 19. This one would have 26, 27, 29. In plot B, I see a 37, and there's not a 37 up there, so it can't be plot B. In plot C, I see a 48 represented down here, and there's not a 48 in the data, so it can't be plot C. So process of elimination says it has to be plot D. This stem and leaf plot shows the results of a student survey about the amount of time they spend on homework assignments. So based on the plot, how many students spend exactly 45 minutes doing the homework assignment? So it has to be in here as the 4 on the left side and a 5 on the right. And I see that right here. And there would be 3 that spent exactly 45 minutes. With this stem and leaf plot, how many students spent less than 30? That would be the amount of time they spent would be less than 30 minutes. So find where the 30 is at, and we can't include that because it doesn't equal 30 minutes. But count all the data that is less than 30. And what do you find? 3 of them, 20, 25, and 25. Let's do a couple of things with this stem and leaf plot. Let's make a key for it, and let's find the range of the data set. So for a key, you have your line dividing the stem and leaf. Pick any number to be your stem. I'm just going to look at like 6. So if I have a 6 on the left and a 4 on the right, that's going to represent the number 64. So this would be the key. Now how about range? Range is the difference between the greatest data and the least data. What would you find for the range? Well, the greatest data would be 96, and the least data would be 40 or 40. So we find the difference between them, which means we're subtracting, and the range is 56. We can use stem and leaf plots to interpret the data that's shown on it. So I'll do this one. The lower extreme means the extremely lowest number, or the smallest data. And that would be the one with the 2, which is 12. The upper extreme is our extremely largest number, so that would be our 3 and our 8. The upper extreme is 38. The median is the one that falls right in the middle. So we start with our smallest, and we're going to cross off from our smallest and our largest. So I crossed off 1 on each end, 2 on each end, 3 on each end, 4 on each end, 5 on each end, 6 on each end, and there's 2 that fall in the middle. To find the middle of two numbers, you can add them up and then divide by 2, which is the mean of those two numbers. Or you can just think, well, what's going to fall right in the middle of 23 and 24? 23 and a half. And mode is the one that shows up the most often. So I'm looking for any data that repeats. I see 2 1s here, which represents 31. So the mode is 31. Okay, on this one, you're going to find the lower extreme, upper extreme, median, and mode. Pause the video and do this on your handout. Your lower extreme is your smallest number, 102. Your upper extreme is the biggest number, 308. And the mode is the one that shows up the most. I see 2 1s right there, so that represents 301. Now, to find the median, you're going to cross off until you find the one that falls in the middle. I crossed off 6 from each end, being careful to always go in order when going to the next row down. And then there'd be 2 in the middle, 204 and 209. So over here I added the 2 and then divide by 2, because that's how many we added, and it'd be 206 and a half, or 206 and 5/10. Let's do this one together. On your handout, we're going to find the mean. So we are needing to list out all of the data, 40, 55, and 85. And to find the mean, we add and then divide by how many we added. The sum of the 3 data is 180. We divided by 3 because that's how many were in our data list, and that's 60. So the mean or average of those 3 data is 60. Let me show you how to make a stem and leaf plot of a data set. So first we find the lower extreme or smallest and the upper extreme or greatest. And it goes from 18 to 59. That's our range of numbers. So I'm going to break that and figure out what to use for the stem. Only the 1's place value is a leaf, the 8 and the 9 here. So I'm going to make this one be a stem, and I have to go from 1 all the way up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to go find all of the numbers that are in the teens, and it's an 18 and a 19. Make sure you put them in number order, numerical order, so I have an 8 and 9. And then I'm going to move over to the 20s, and again go in order and find them up in your list and mark them off as you go. So all of the 20s now have been listed in order, and then we move on to the next stem, and so on. So I now have all of the data listed in the stem and leaf, and I want to point out that you really want to stack these numbers carefully so that you do have a nice picture representation here, and you can see that most of the numbers fall in the 20s. And don't forget to make a key. I have 5 on the left and a 9 on the right. That represents 59. Okay, on the next one, you're going to pause the video and do on your handout. It may be a good idea to list these numbers in order first. Otherwise, it's really easy to forget a number or get mixed up. Make sure to pause the video and try it on your own, and don't forget to make a key. So you would have found stems all the way from the 40s to the 70s, and then put them in order, and don't forget to stack them up nice and neat so you can tell that it makes a picture representation there. And also, a common mistake is forgetting to include those 2 that you circled. So here, where is the 77? I need my upper extreme in the list also, and that you have a key.